Today, I want to remind you that pressure isn't here to break you, it's here to make you. The difficulties you face are not a sign that you're failing, they are a sign that you're growing. Diamonds are formed under pressure, gold is refined in fire, and your greatest breakthroughs will come when you refuse to give up in the toughest moments. You may be in a season of struggle, but that pressure is not permanent. It's preparing you for something greater. Maybe life hasn't turned out the way you planned. Maybe obstacles keep coming against you, but let me tell you, when you stay in faith, when you keep moving forward, God will take what was meant to stop you and use it to elevate you. Think about the caterpillar. It goes into a dark cocoon, pressed on every side. It looks like the end, but in reality, it's just the beginning. That struggle is what gives it the strength to fly. And the same is true for you. What feels like pressure today is producing power for your tomorrow. Pressure is uncomfortable, but it is also proof that you are on the verge of something new. You are not buried, you are planted. And in due time, you will rise stronger, wiser, and better than before. So don't fight the pressure. Let it push you into the next level of your destiny. Keep believing, keep standing, keep speaking victory. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. Pressure is something we all experience. It comes in different forms. Challenges at work, struggles in relationships, financial setbacks, or personal disappointments. Too often we see pressure as something negative, something that's working against us. But the truth is, pressure is not here to destroy you. It's here to develop you. It's pushing you toward the person you were created to be. Without pressure, there would be no growth, no progress, no breakthroughs. Think about an athlete training for a championship. They don't become stronger by staying in their comfort zone. They push their muscles to the limit, lifting more weight, running farther, training harder. It's that resistance, that pressure that builds endurance. If they avoided the discomfort, they would never reach their full potential. In the same way, the pressure in your life is building something within you. Strength, character, wisdom, resilience. It's stretching you so that you can handle greater blessings and bigger opportunities. Consider the process of refining gold. When gold is first found, it doesn't look valuable. It's covered in impurities, mixed with other materials. But when it is placed in the fire, when it is put under intense heat, those impurities are burned away and the pure gold is revealed. Without the fire, the gold would never reach its full worth. Some of the pressure you feel right now is simply burning away the things that don't belong. Fear, doubt, insecurity. It's preparing you to shine in a way you never imagined. Look at the stories of great leaders, inventors, and pioneers throughout history. None of them reached success without facing pressure. Some of them faced rejection after rejection. Others endured failure after failure. But instead of giving up, they let that pressure push them forward. They learned from their struggles. They adapted. They kept pressing on. If they had given in to the pressure, their dreams would have died. But because they persevered, they changed the world. Even nature shows us that pressure has a purpose. A seed planted in the ground is covered in dirt pressed beneath the soil. It's dark, it's buried, it's under pressure. But that pressure is what activates its potential. That seed has everything it needs inside of it, but without the pressure of the soil, without the rain, without the struggle to break through the ground, it will never become what it was meant to be. Maybe you feel like that seed, buried, hidden, overlooked. But the pressure you're feeling is not burying you, it's positioning you for growth. Sometimes pressure feels unfair. You might look at your life and wonder why things seem more difficult for you than for others. Why does it feel like you have to struggle harder, wait longer, endure more? But the greater the pressure, the greater the purpose. A simple stone doesn't go through much pressure, but a diamond is formed by intense heat and extreme pressure deep within the earth. The reason you feel the weight of pressure is because you are meant to shine at a higher level. Instead of fighting the pressure, embrace it. Understand that it's part of the process. Pressure is a sign that something is shifting, something is changing, something is about to be released. When you feel pressed on every side, when it seems like the weight is too much to bear, remind yourself, this is not the end. This is preparation. You are being strengthened for something greater, so don't be discouraged by the pressure. Don't see it as an obstacle. See it as an opportunity. It's not here to break you. It's here to make you. The pressure is refining you, equipping you, and pushing you toward your destiny. Pressure has a way of revealing what's inside of us. It doesn't come to destroy us. It comes to develop us. Think about a diamond. It doesn't start out as something beautiful and valuable. It begins as a piece of carbon buried deep beneath the earth, exposed to extreme heat and pressure over time. Without that intense pressure, the carbon would remain ordinary, never transforming into something rare and precious. In the same way, the challenges and pressures in your life are not meant to defeat you. They are shaping you into something greater. Maybe you're facing struggles that feel overwhelming. The weight of responsibilities, setbacks, and disappointments can feel like too much to bear. But that pressure is not there to crush you. It's there to strengthen you. Every successful person, every champion, every leader has faced moments of intense pressure. The difference between those who rise and those who give up is how they respond to it. If you keep the right perspective, that pressure won't hold you down. It will lift you up. Think about the times in your life when you've grown the most. Was it when everything was easy and comfortable? Probably not. Growth happens in the struggle. Strength is built in adversity. Diamonds don't form in comfortable environments. They are shaped in the most extreme conditions. The same is true for you. The harder the pressure, the greater the transformation. That pressure is preparing you for new levels, new blessings, and new opportunities. Sometimes when we face pressure, we want to run from it. We pray for the difficulty to be removed, for the challenge to disappear. But what if that pressure is the very thing that's going to take you to the next level? What if the opposition is actually working in your favor? Just like a diamond's brilliance is revealed through the cutting and polishing process, your true potential is being uncovered through the challenges you are facing right now. Consider the stories of great people who changed the world. Many of them endured seasons of intense pressure, rejections, failures, struggles, but they refused to quit. They understood that pressure wasn't a sign to stop. It was a sign to push forward. When pressure comes, it's easy to think, why is this happening to me? But a better question is, how is this shaping me? Because if you stay in faith, if you keep pressing forward, you will come out of it stronger, wiser, and more valuable than before. Pressure may be uncomfortable, but it's also a sign that something powerful is happening. You may not see it yet, but beneath the surface, something is shifting. Just like a diamond remains hidden deep within the earth until the right moment, your breakthrough is coming. The pressure is not your enemy, it's your preparation. The very thing that seems like it's holding you down is actually setting you up for your greatest elevation. So when life puts pressure on you, don't break. Let it make you. Keep standing, keep believing, keep moving forward. The pressure you're feeling today is not in vain. It's producing something incredible within you. And just like that carbon deep in the earth transforms into a diamond, you are being shaped into something rare, something valuable, something brilliant. You are not just going through pressure. You are being prepared for greatness. And when the time is right, you will shine like never before. Too often, when we face obstacles, we think something is wrong. We wonder, why is this happening to me? Did I take the wrong path? Am I not good enough? But just because you're facing challenges doesn't mean you're failing. In fact, obstacles are often a sign that you're on the right track. Resistance comes when you're making progress. The enemy wouldn't be fighting you if there weren't something valuable on the other side. Think about an airplane taking off. The greatest resistance comes right before it lifts into the sky. It has to push against the wind, struggle through the forces holding it down. But when it reaches a certain speed, that same resistance is what allows it to soar. In the same way, the obstacles you're facing are not there to keep you stuck. They're there to propel you forward. If you keep pressing through, what was once holding you back will be the very thing that lifts you to new heights. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history came because someone refused to see obstacles as the end of the road. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. If he had seen those failures as proof that he wasn't good enough, the world might still be in darkness. Every setback, every challenge was just another step toward success. The obstacle wasn't failure, it was part of the process. Obstacles are not roadblocks, they are tests of perseverance. They separate those who give up from those who keep going. If you quit when things get hard, you'll never see the victory that was just around the corner. Many times we stop just short of the breakthrough because we misinterpret difficulty as defeat. But what if that obstacle is the very thing that's preparing you for what you've been praying for. Think about a seed planted in the ground. Before it grows into a mighty tree, it has to push through the soil, break through layers of dirt, and press past the resistance. It doesn't give up just because it's buried. It keeps growing, keeps stretching, keeps reaching for the light. That same principle applies to your life. You may feel like you're surrounded by difficulties, like everything is pressing against you, but that pressure is making you stronger, giving you the endurance to handle the blessings that are coming your way. Sometimes obstacles are not there to stop us, but to teach us. They build resilience, patience, and wisdom. They force us to rely on faith, to dig deeper, to discover strength we didn't know we had. If everything were easy, we wouldn't appreciate the victories. It's the struggles that make the success so much sweeter. Instead of seeing obstacles as a sign to stop, see them as an indication that you're getting closer to your goal. If the road were smooth, everyone would take it. But the path to greatness is paved with challenges. Those who refuse to quit, who keep pressing forward even when it's hard, are the ones who experience true success. So don't be discouraged by the challenges in front of you. They are not a sign that you're failing. They are a sign that you're growing, that you're stretching, that you're on the verge of something greater. Keep pushing, keep believing, and keep moving forward. The obstacle is not the end of your journey. It's just a part of your victory story. Sometimes in life we experience setbacks that make us feel like we're moving in the wrong direction. We put in the effort, we pray, we believe, yet things don't seem to work out the way we planned. The door closes, the opportunity passes, the relationship falls apart, and we wonder, why is this happening to me? But what if I told you that your setback is not the end of your story? It's just the setup for something greater. What looks like a setback is often God positioning you for a comeback. You may feel like you're being pushed back, but just like an arrow, the further it's pulled back, the farther it will fly. God is not limiting you, He's launching you. The disappointment, the delay, the difficulty is not there to stop you. It's there to prepare you for what's coming next. If you could see what God has planned, you wouldn't be discouraged. You would be excited knowing that this is all part of His divine setup. Think about Joseph in the Bible. He had a dream that he would be a great leader. But before that dream came to pass, he faced betrayal, slavery, false accusations, and years in prison. Every step seemed like a setback, but in reality, each challenge was a setup for his destiny. If he hadn't been sold into slavery, he wouldn't have ended up in Egypt. If he hadn't gone to prison, he wouldn't have met the right people. And if he hadn't met those people, he wouldn't have become second in command over all of Egypt. What others meant for harm, God used for good. Maybe you're facing a situation right now where you feel like you've taken 10 steps backward. You're frustrated, confused, and wondering why things aren't working out. But don't lose heart. God is still in control. He sees the bigger picture. The relationship that didn't work out, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. The job that didn't come through, it wasn't a loss, it was making room for something better. The closed doors, the delays, the disappointments, they are all part of His plan to set you up for something far greater than you imagine. A setback is not a sign that God has forgotten you. It's a sign that He's working behind the scenes. Sometimes we have to be in the right place at the right time for His plan to unfold. If He allowed everything to happen on our timeline, we might settle for less than what He has in store. But when we trust Him, when we believe that He is guiding our steps, we can have peace even in the midst of uncertainty. Look at a slingshot. The more it's pulled back, the farther the stone will go. The tension, the resistance, the backward pull, it's all necessary to launch forward. The same is true in your life. You may feel like you're being pulled back, but that pressure is just building momentum for your breakthrough. God is setting you up to go farther than you ever thought possible. So instead of getting discouraged by the setbacks, start looking at them differently. Ask yourself, how is this setting me up for something greater? Because when one door closes, it's not the end of the story. It's making way for something better. God's plan for your life is not limited by the setbacks you face. He is still working, still moving, and still setting things up in your favor. Your setback is not permanent. Your delay is not denial. And what seems like a step backward is actually God positioning you for a major comeback. Keep trusting, keep believing, and keep moving forward because your setup is already in motion. Life has a way of placing us in seasons of struggle, times when we feel stuck, confined, or even forgotten. We pray for change, we hope for breakthroughs, but instead we find ourselves in a place of waiting, a place of pressure. But just because you don't see progress doesn't mean transformation isn't happening. Just like the caterpillar in its cocoon, your struggle is not here to defeat you, it's here to prepare you for something greater. The caterpillar starts out crawling, moving slowly, limited in where it can go, but one day it enters a dark, enclosed space, a cocoon. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. It looks still, lifeless, even stuck. But on the inside, a miraculous transformation is taking place. What was once ordinary is becoming extraordinary. What was once crawling is being prepared to soar. Maybe you feel like you're in that cocoon right now, hidden, struggling, waiting for things to change. You feel like nothing is moving, like you're stuck in the same place, wondering when the breakthrough will come. But don't mistake stillness for stagnation. Just because you don't see change doesn't mean God isn't working. The process may be uncomfortable, but it's necessary. You're not being buried, you're being transformed. When the time is right, the butterfly is ready to emerge, but even then, the struggle isn't over. The caterpillar turned butterfly has to fight its way out of the cocoon. It pushes, it presses, it struggles to break free. At that moment, it may seem like the struggle is too much. But what looks like a hardship is actually strengthening its wings. Without that fight, the wings wouldn't develop properly. Without the pressure, it wouldn't be strong enough to fly. Some of the struggles you're facing right now are not meant to break you. They are meant to strengthen you. That challenge at work, that difficulty in your family, that season of waiting, it's not a sign that you're stuck. It's proof that you're in the process of transformation. If you try to rush it, if you try to break out too soon, you may step into your next season unprepared. But if you embrace the process, if you trust that the struggle is shaping you, you'll come out stronger, wiser, and ready to soar. The butterfly doesn't look back at its cocoon with regret. It doesn't wish it had skipped the struggle. It knows that every moment inside that tight, confined space was necessary for it to reach its full potential. In the same way, when you step into your breakthrough, you'll look back and realize that every challenge, every delay, every hardship was part of the process. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared. So don't despise the struggle. Don't be discouraged by the waiting. Your cocoon is not your prison. It's your preparation. The same way a caterpillar's struggle gives it wings, your struggles are giving you strength, wisdom, and the ability to rise higher than ever before. And when the time is right, when your transformation is complete, you won't just walk into your destiny, you'll soar into it. There are moments in life when we feel like everything is closing in on us. We go through setbacks, disappointments, and delays, and it seems like we've been pushed down, forgotten, or overlooked. It's easy to think, why is this happening to me? Why does it feel like I'm stuck? But what if I told you that you're not buried, you're planted? What looks like a setback is actually a setup for new growth, new opportunities, and new levels in your life. Think about a seed. When a seed is planted, it's placed in the dirt, covered in darkness, hidden where no one can see it. From the outside, it may seem like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, that seed is going through a process. The soil is activating its potential. The roots are growing deeper. And before long, that tiny seed will push through the ground and become something greater than anyone could have imagined. Maybe you feel like that seed right now, buried under responsibilities, under challenges, under disappointments. You feel hidden, overlooked, like nothing is moving forward. But don't mistake being planted for being buried. When something is buried, it's meant to stay in the ground. But when something is planted, it's only a matter of time before it breaks through. That difficulty isn't there to defeat you. It's preparing you for your next season. Think about Joseph in the Bible. He was thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and later put in prison for something he didn't do. From the outside, it looked like he had been buried by life circumstances. But in reality, God was positioning him for greatness. The pit was not his final destination. The prison was not his permanent home. Those were just parts of his process. When the time was right, Joseph didn't just step out of prison. He stepped into his destiny as second in command over all of Egypt. The same is true for you. What looks like a season of darkness is actually a season of preparation. You may not see growth yet, but your roots are getting stronger. Your faith is deepening. Your character is being refined. If God allowed you to blossom too soon, you wouldn't be strong enough to sustain the blessing He has in store. But when the time is right, you're going to push through the dirt, and what once felt like a setback will be the very thing that launched you forward. Sometimes the hardest seasons produce the greatest growth. The pressure, the waiting, the struggle is all part of the process. A tree that grows fast but has weak roots can be easily uprooted in a storm. But a tree that takes time to grow, one whose roots go deep, will stand tall no matter what comes against it. That's why God is allowing this process. He's making sure your foundation is strong enough to carry the weight of your calling. So instead of feeling discouraged when life pushes you down, shift your perspective. You are not buried, you are planted. You are in a season of growth, a season of transformation. It may not feel good now, but the process is necessary for you to step into everything God has prepared for you. And when the time is right, when your roots are strong and your faith is unshakable, you will break through the surface and the world will see what God has been doing all along. You are not buried. You are planted, and your season to rise is coming. In life, we all face pressure from responsibilities, pressure from challenges, pressure from setbacks and disappointments. It can feel overwhelming, like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. But what if I told you that pressure isn't there to break you? It's there to build you. Pressure is not a sign that you're failing, it's a sign that you're growing. The truth is, pressure produces power. Think about how electricity is generated. Power plants don't create energy out of thin air, they harness pressure. Whether it's the steam in a turbine, the movement of water through a dam, or the compression of gases, energy is released when pressure is applied. Without that pressure, there would be no power. In the same way, the pressure you're feeling is not working against you, it's working for you. It's producing something powerful inside of you, something that wouldn't have been released otherwise. Consider an olive. On its own, it's just a small fruit. But when it's pressed, it produces valuable oil, something far greater than the olive itself. The same is true for you. The pressure you're under right now is extracting the greatness within you. Without the struggle, without the challenges, you wouldn't develop the strength, the wisdom, or the perseverance needed for your destiny. The greater the pressure, the greater the anointing, the greater the power that's coming out of you. Think about diamonds. They don't form in easy, comfortable conditions. They start out as simple carbon, buried deep in the earth, exposed to intense heat and pressure over time. Without that extreme pressure, the carbon would remain ordinary. But because of the pressure, it transforms into one of the strongest and most valuable substances on earth. The pressure didn't destroy it, it made it into something priceless. Sometimes we pray for the pressure to go away. We ask God to take away the challenges, to remove the difficulties, to make life easier. But what if that pressure is the very thing that's preparing us for the next level? What if the pressure is developing the character, the endurance, and the strength we'll need for the blessings ahead? Instead of praying for the pressure to stop, we should start praying for the strength to endure it, knowing that it's producing something powerful inside of us. Look at the stories of great people who changed the world. Every single one of them faced pressure. Every leader, every innovator, every history maker had to push through challenges, opposition, and hardships. They didn't let the pressure break them. They let it make them stronger. You're facing pressure today, don't see it as a sign to quit. See it as proof that something powerful is being produced in your life. Pressure doesn't mean you're at the end. It means you're in the process. It's like an athlete in training, pushing through resistance, enduring the struggle, strengthening their muscles. If they stopped every time it got hard, they would never build the strength needed to win. But because they pushed through the pressure, they become stronger, faster, and more powerful. So instead of resisting the pressure, embrace it. Know that it's not here to destroy you, it's here to develop you. The pressure is not your enemy, it's your preparation. And when you come through it, you're going to step into a new level of power, confidence, and purpose like never before. Life has a way of throwing unexpected challenges our way. We face disappointments, delays, and difficulties that can shake our confidence and make us question whether we're on the right path. It's easy to feel discouraged when things don't seem to be working out, but in these moments we have to make a choice. Will we give up, or will we stay in faith and keep moving forward? Faith is not about having all the answers. It's not about seeing the whole picture or knowing exactly how things will turn out. Faith is about trusting that even when you can't see a way, God is making a way. It's about believing that even in the struggle, even in the waiting, something is happening behind the scenes. Just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean progress isn't being made. Think about a farmer who plants a seed. He doesn't go back the next day and dig it up to see if it's growing. He doesn't question whether it will sprout. He trusts the process, knowing that in due time the seed will break through the soil. The same is true for you. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean nothing is happening. The breakthrough is coming. The right opportunity is on its way. The door is about to open. But you have to stay in faith and keep moving forward. Sometimes we allow obstacles to convince us that it's time to quit. We think if it were meant to be, it wouldn't be this hard. If I were really supposed to do this, everything would fall into place. But the truth is, challenges don't mean you're on the wrong path. They mean you're on the right one. Resistance comes when you're stepping into something greater. The enemy wouldn't be fighting you if there weren't something valuable on the other side. Think about the Israelites when they were on their way to the promised land. They had a destiny ahead of them, but they faced opposition, setbacks, and delays. Some of them got discouraged and wanted to turn back. They thought it would be easier to go back to slavery than to press forward into the unknown. But the ones who kept moving forward, the ones who refused to let the obstacles stop them, were the ones who stepped into the promise. You may be facing something right now that's testing your patience, stretching your faith, and making you wonder if it's worth it. But I encourage you, don't stop now. You are closer than you think. Every step you take in faith is bringing you closer to your breakthrough. Every time you refuse to give up, you are proving that you trust God's plan more than your own fears. Staying in faith doesn't mean you'll never have doubts. It doesn't mean you won't feel tired or frustrated. It means that even when you feel those things, you keep going anyway. You keep showing up. You keep believing. You keep pressing forward. God never promised that the journey would be easy, but He did promise that He would be with you every step of the way. So lift your head, straighten your shoulders, and remind yourself that you are not alone. What you're facing is not the end. It's just part of the process. Stay in faith. Keep moving forward. Your best days are still ahead of you. The words you speak have more power than you realize. They are not just sounds that come out of your mouth. They carry weight. They shape your reality. And they have the ability to build up or tear down. What you declare over your life, whether positive or negative, has the potential to set the course for your future. If you want to see victory, if you want to step into all that God has for you, you have to start speaking words of faith, words of life, words of blessing. Too often we use our words to describe our circumstances instead of using them to change our circumstances. We say things like, I'll never get ahead. This situation will never change. I'm always going to struggle. But what if the very words you are speaking are keeping you stuck? What if instead of saying, I'm always struggling, you started saying, I am blessed, I am favored, I am equipped for every challenge. Proverbs 18:21 says, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. That means your words can bring life or they can bring destruction. When you speak faith, when you declare victory, when you align your words with God's promises, you activate His power in your life. But when you speak defeat, doubt, and negativity, you are giving power to the wrong things. Think about a thermostat. It doesn't just report the temperature, it sets the temperature. Your words work the same way. They set the atmosphere for your life. If you keep speaking words of fear and lack, you're going to live in that reality. But if you start speaking words of faith and abundance, you're going to see things shift in your favor. Look at David in the Bible. Before he ever faced Goliath, he was already speaking victory. He didn't say, this giant is too big, I don't stand a chance. No, he declared, this day the Lord will deliver you into my hands. His word set the course for his victory. What are you declaring today? Are you speaking to the giants in your life with faith, or are you letting them intimidate you into silence? Some people wonder why they can't seem to break free from certain struggles, why they keep facing the same problems. Could it be that they are speaking defeat over their own lives? Every time you say, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, this will never change, you are reinforcing the chains that are holding you back. But the moment you start speaking life, the moment you say, I am more than a conqueror, I am strong, I am capable, I am victorious, things begin to shift. Your words don't just affect you, they affect the people around you. The way you speak to your spouse, your children, your co-workers, It matters. You can either build them up with encouragement or you can tear them down with criticism. Choose to be a person who speaks life, who lifts others, who declares blessing over those around you. So today I challenge you to start paying attention to your words. Speak life over your future. Speak victory over your challenges. Speak faith over your dreams. Because when you align your words with God's promises, you will begin to see His power at work in ways you never imagined. Your words have power. Use them wisely. Sometimes life can feel like an uphill battle. You've been praying, believing, and standing in faith, but nothing seems to be changing. You wonder, God, when is it going to happen? When will I see my breakthrough? The delay can be discouraging, and it's easy to feel like giving up, but what if I told you that your breakthrough is closer than you think? Many times, right before a breakthrough, things get the hardest. The opposition intensifies. The obstacles seem bigger, and you feel more exhausted than ever. That's because the enemy knows you're on the verge of stepping into something great. He wouldn't be fighting you this hard if there weren't something powerful on the other side. The pressure is a sign that something is about to shift. Think about a woman in labor. The closer she gets to delivery, the more intense the pain becomes. The contractions get stronger. The pressure increases. But that's not the time to give up. It's the time to push. In the same way, when life gets the hardest, that's your cue that the promise is near. You may feel stretched, tested, and uncomfortable, but that's not a sign to quit. It's a sign that your breakthrough is right around the corner. Look at the story of the Israelites. After years of wandering in the wilderness, they were right on the edge of the promised land, but just before stepping into their destiny, they faced one final obstacle: the walls of Jericho. From the outside, it looked impossible. Those walls were thick, fortified, and stood in the way of their victory. But instead of retreating, they obeyed God's instruction to march around the walls for 7 days. I'm sure it didn't make sense to them. I'm sure they felt silly at times. But what they didn't realize was that on the 7th day, their breakthrough was coming. When they shouted, the walls came down, and they stepped into the land God had promised. What if they had quit on the 6th day? What if they had given up right before the miracle? That's where many people miss it. They're closer than they realize, but they allow the discouragement to talk them out of their breakthrough. They stop believing. They stop praying. They stop pushing forward when they were only one step away from victory. Maybe that's you today. You've been fighting for your dream, for your healing, for your family, but you're growing weary. You're thinking about settling, about backing down, about walking away. But let me encourage you, this is not the time to quit. You've come too far to turn back now. You are closer than you think. God has not brought you this far to leave you. He is faithful to His promises. What He started in your life, He will finish. The breakthrough may not look the way you expected. It may not happen on your timeline, but that doesn't mean it's not on the way. You don't have to figure out how it's going to happen. All you have to do is stay in faith and keep moving forward. So get your hopes up. Speak victory over your situation. Keep pressing, keep believing, keep marching. Your breakthrough is on the way. And when it comes, you'll look back and realize that it was closer than you ever imagined. So I want to encourage you today, don't give up. You may be tired, you may feel like nothing is changing, but stay in faith. Keep marching around your Jericho. Keep speaking life over your situation. Keep trusting that God is working behind the scenes. The enemy wouldn't be fighting you so hard if there weren't something incredible on the other side. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. The pressure is not there to break you. It's there to prepare you. The waiting is not wasted. It's strengthening your faith, deepening your roots, and positioning you for greater things. God is about to open doors that no man can shut. He's about to turn your mourning into joy, your struggle into strength, and your setback into a setup. When you feel like giving up, remind yourself, I am not buried, I am planted. I am not stuck, I am in preparation. I am not defeated, I am on the verge of victory. If you keep believing, if you keep pressing forward, you're going to see God do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask or imagine. So lift your head, straighten your shoulders, and declare, my breakthrough is coming. My best days are ahead of me. God is faithful, and He will finish what He started in my life. Stay in faith, keep moving forward, and watch as your breakthrough unfolds before your eyes.